Hey, welcome. Hey, today we're going to talk about helicopters. Helicopters in Flight Simulator. So, a few days ago, I was watching some videos on YouTube of people flying helicopters in Flight Simulator, and I was like, how the heck do they do that? Because I can't do anything in Flight Simulator with a helicopter without the helicopter flipping out and doing really weird things. So I thought, this has to be something on my end. My computer, my system, my joysticks, everything. It has to be something on my end then. And so I did a little looking. I looked at some videos on bindings. I went and checked my bindings, checked some of the bindings, and everything was fine as far as I thought. But it still wouldn't. I mean, I kid you not. I would, apply the collective, go to twist the yaw on the joystick, and the helicopter would spin out of control. I mean, the Bell 222, I'd fly on, I could literally get it on its nose and it would spin around in circles. So initially I thought this was because of the way that, Microsoft did helicopters. And that was not the case. So I spent the last 2 days, or a good part of the last 2 days, researching, reading, and trying to understand what I could about helicopters in Flight Simulator. And what I found was that a lot of it had to do with my controllers. Now, I have the Satec X56 joystick and throttle. And when I plugged that in the first time to my computer, it bound a bunch of weird stuff to those joysticks. So, first thing I had to do was go in and figure out what needed to be cleared out and to make these planes fly, to make these helicopters flyable. And then the other thing was that even though a helicopter uses a rotor, not a rudder, the joystick had bound itself to the rudder. So that was causing it was causing a conflict, because I actually had the rotor access on, it was on the throttle of all things. So when I applied collective, that would cause the helicopter to flip out. So let's just go ahead and jump in, and we'll go take a look at the settings that I'm talking about. Okay, now for me, these are the big four. Okay, now the collective should automatically default to your throttle unit. That hasn't changed any. But for some reason, my rotor access, I have it now assigned to the twisty part of the flight stick, the yaw rudder. But it is now, when I fly a helicopter, it is the tail rotor access. And the other thing that is really important is your lateral and longitudinal trim. This will give you so much freedom in the cockpit of a helicopter. I had no idea. This was a game changer, and I found this on a post. I think it was a Facebook post. The guy had posted a picture of these settings, and I never even thought to look for them, because I've never been able to trim a helicopter in any version of Flight Simulator until now. So with this, you got to change your lateral and longitudinal trim. And I bound that to these two buttons, or to this POV right here, up and down and left and right. So that made the helicopter totally flyable. Those are the actual top three things for me: rotor access, lateral trim, and longitudinal trim. And that was a big game changer for me. So now, when you apply longitudinal trim, you can actually see it. It'll move the helicopter. See, the helicopters move just a little bit. That's because I'm moving the trim up and down. Oh, I'm gonna, oh. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Okay, I have a reset button. I assigned top button on my flight stick to reset the lateral and longitudinal trim. So let's go ahead and fly. Okay, I'm hands off on my controller right now, and I'm just flying it with the trim. So that is a game changer for me. A big game changer. The other thing that I had found was that I think my throttle unit has a short, and there's a silver knob over on the far left hand side of it, and I had assigned that as my heading bug, so I could just roll it and change my heading on the fly. Well, somebody had pointed out in the video that my heading bug would go around in circles non-stop. And the other day, it would start doing that, and it would also drop flaps. So I unbound that part of the unit, that knob, completely, and those issues have stopped. So I wish I'd caught this a little sooner, because these aren't that old, but I think they're it's too late to return them. But then the other thing, there's a big silver dial on top of the throttle unit, and that defaults to trim for a regular airplane, but it doesn't do anything for a helicopter. But mine was all defaulted to trim, but it was also defaulted to another trim setting that would cause my trim to just go bananas. Sometimes it would work just fine, then other times it would like jump or drop completely, and I'd lose the plane would go out of control. So I have unbound that as well, and that has solved a lot of my issues that I've been having with helicopters and other aircraft. So this is how easy it is. I mean, I'm totally stoked on this. I've been wanting to fly some of the payware helicopters, and I really didn't think it was going to be possible, but it is now. My landings still need a little work, but I'm getting there. So I think a lot of this is getting a feel for each individual helicopter. I would think that having a VR setup or even a track IR or head tracking software of some kind would make flying a helicopter much easier. But for the most part, this is a big improvement. At least it is for me. Hey, we're over Union Gap. That'd be the Valley Mall over there. Do some aerial for some aerial enforcement for Union Gap PD. That's the other thing, you know, with the lateral and longitudinal trim, you can make real minute adjustments to your flight. You get it in hover and just get in close where you need to. You know, I really want you guys to know I am not a pilot. I don't pretend to be a pilot. I'm a gamer. So what I know, and I've been around aviation for a good part of my life. My family's involved in aviation. I have family that's involved in aviation. But everything I've learned, I've kind of learned on the fly, and you know, everything that I know. I mean, I've been doing Flight Simulator since Sublogic Flight Simulator 2. So I'm not trying to make these videos. I'm not trying to show you that I'm this big expert. I'm a gamer, and this is what I'm doing. I enjoy Flight Simulator. I do Flight Simulator a lot. And I've been doing it for years. So am I an expert at Flight Simulator? Sometimes I think I am. Other times I don't think I am. In this case with helicopters, no, I'm not. And obviously not with the hardware. But, you know, hardware is supposed to be plug and play, not chase bindings and try to figure it all out on your own. Especially when your profile comes up and it says helicopter. I mean, that should. Why would you question that? So, I hope this is helpful. You know, I know there's probably some people out there that are like me that are just like, oh my God, this is nuts. You can't control anything. Well, it's getting your bindings set, and it has nothing to do with the helicopter that you're in, nothing to do with Flight Simulator, and everything to do with your controllers and making sure that they're set properly so you can do these things. I mean, I wish I could get it into a decent hover. Now, I am not flying with any of the assists on. I don't like flying I do not like the Microsoft assists. So I leave those turned off and fly the helicopter the way it should be flown. But there you have it, folks. A decent flight, 2 relatively decent landings. Like I said, I'm still learning. I hope this was helpful to someone. I just wanted to share this because I've made some statements about helicopters in Flight Simulator and some negative comments that were not the case about helicopters in Flight Simulator, and they fly just fine. So, with that being said, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.